On Thursday, the 12th of February 2026, hello and welcome to the daily podcast sport program on King FM 94.7 with me, Alaji Fati. And coming up in this edition, it is week 12 encounter of the ongoing National League Division 1. We will tell you today the games, 4 games took place. Samgaf versus Greater tomorrow, and of course Falcons take on Real de Banjul. It ended up at chaos at the Serkunda East Mini Stadium. Golden GDL versus GPA. Bombarda takes on TMT FC at Birkama Mini Stadium. That is going to be the talking points, especially Real de Banjul versus Falcons at the Serkunda East Mini Stadium. Well, in the international scenes, it's a draw for Manchester United, but the team has still gone unbeaten under their new gaffer, Michael Carrick. Big game in Spain, as Atletico also will have another interesting encounter this evening at 8 o'clock. And of course, as always, I am not alone in the studio. And today, my studio guest is an international sport journalist who is currently in the country. He's no other person than Henk Mest. He's going to take me with speed regarding the African football. And today, he watched Real de Banjul against Falcons at the Serekunda East Mini Stadium. So we're going to talk about that too. So that's and many other interesting stories are all coming on King FM 94.7 with me, Alaji. England to face Spain and Croatia in Nations League. Tuchel delight FA, but timing has an echo of the capital decision too. And of course, ex-West Ham forward Antonio in talks with Charlton. And of course, our Premier League build up as Arsenal visit Brentford. More on that later on this program. Tottenhams are not a big club, says by who we'll let you know. Stalin joined Feyenoord until end of the season in Holland. So of course, also Cristiano Ronaldo's strike is all over because of the man is back on the pitch again. And of course, we will let you know what has really happened in the other part of the big 4 countries in Europe, as we say, the 5 major leagues. So it's really interesting. But of course, tonight's games stand like this. Brentford will take on Arsenal at 8 p.m. Wolves against, of course, if you look at this, the fixtures too, on Wednesday is going to be another interesting encounter because of more teams will be also playing in the Premier League. Aston Villa and Leeds, that's going to be Saturday, 21st of February. And of course, the 12th of February, this evening, is Brentford against Arsenal. And you have again Aston Villa Leeds. That's going to be on Saturday, as we can see. But as always, let me now introduce my studio guest in the studio, who is international sport journalist. Currently, he's in a holiday in the country, and he recently took part in AIPS, that is APS Congress, which has taken place at the Sadora Kairaba Conference Center, where they have also took on a 3-day seminar regarding effectiveness of sport reporting in the continent. But Mr. Henk Mest, welcome to King FM 94.7. Welcome to the sports program. And then tell us, since you've been in the country, let's talk about sport.
Yes.
More especially African football? Because I understand you watched a few games of the recent concluded AFCON. Yes. Let's rewind back and then talk about how do you see the future of African football in the next 5 years?
Well, I've been surprised by the quality, the rising quality also by African teams. If you would compare it with 10 years ago or so, you can see many players are members of European top clubs, and that gives a higher level to the national teams. And I was very interested to see a lot of games of the AFCON, because players from Morocco and from Senegal and from Sudan also, and from Algeria, they play in the Dutch league. So it's always interesting to follow them on international level. And it was it was a pity that the final ended in a disappointing way. But I think Senegal is a deserved champion of Africa.
All right, we'll come to the way the final has ended, and then, as I said, you are in the Gambia for a holiday, and then you took part in a 3 days sporting program at the conference center, that is AIPS Africa Congress, and then you watch a little bit of African football. That gives you an idea of the concept of our football, and you are also seeing African players play in the elite football in Europe, in top clubs in Europe as well. So we're talking about the future of African football.
Yeah, well, we have come to Gambia for holidays, my wife and me. And my wife prefers the beach, and I'm not so a big lover of the beach. And I didn't know the IEPS Congress was holding on in the Gambia during 3 days, and I got notice from it. So I decided to go there and to follow a lot of interesting discussions about, for example, gender sports, about the level of African football, and the level of the sports journalism in Africa, and also the level of the participation of women in sports journalism, and that made it very interesting. And because I'm here, so I decided also I want to see also the league games of the Gambia. What level are they playing? And this afternoon I assisted at the game between Falcons FC and Banjul.
Yeah, really Banjul.
I was a little bit disappointed, I can tell you.
Yeah, we'll come to that, because I understand the match that has been played in the week 12 of the National League Division 1 between Falcons FC and Real de Banjul did not end well, but we come to that on the program. Yes, you were talking about the level of sports in Gambia. We'll come to that level, but now let's go back a bit to AFCON. Where do you think the power of African football lies? Is it in the hands of the big clubs in Europe that our players are playing there, or Africa itself has a talent? Do you believe that Africa we can do it at any level?
Yeah, it's very difficult to judge the African football in a simple way. And I know there are a lot of academies founded in Africa, like in Gambia, but also in Ghana, from foreign capital. And there a lot of talents emerge, and you find them in the Dutch, in the European teams back. For example, from Gambia, we admired 2 years ago in Holland Yakuba Mente, who was phenomenal with Feyenoord Rotterdam, and then he deserved his transfer. He already was in service of Newcastle United, but the way he played with Feyenoord Rotterdam, he was a quality player who made a good job for African players in Europe, and he deserved his transfer to Brighton and Hove Albion. He's only the second player in of Gambia playing in the Dutch league, I guess, because I have seen about 20 years ago Yato Cizé
Yes.
playing with Willem II Tilburg, and he was very beloved.
Yeah.
And I know, because I live very close to Tilburg, I know the fans are still liking him. And they made 2 years ago a search for him because they never could find where he was staying now. And they found him, I guess, in Liverpool or so, where he was residing.
Yeah.
And but that kind of players, Cizé and Yakuba Minte, they make a good job for African football in Europe, and in Netherlands especially.
All right. Yeah, you can name them. There are plenty of African footballers who are playing their trade in Europe. And of course, Gambia is not exception to that as well. So, you say you watch a few games of Africa Cup of Nations in Morocco.
Yeah.
And then let's talk about your high points and low points. What were the things that you really admire in African football as far as Africa Cup of Nations in Morocco is concerned?
Well, I was surprised, for example, by the team of Sudan, who don't even have their own league, who are playing outside of the country because of the war. And I was especially surprised because one player, the only player coming from Europe in the Sudan team, was a guy, he's named Shedi Barglan, and he is playing in the team of my town, FC Den Bosch. So I knew him very well. But in Holland, nobody knew him.
Yes.
And he made a very good impression playing against Senegal, and when he was the direct opponent of Sadio Mane, and he was very surprised to stand with Sadio Mane.
Yeah.
During the game, he said to Mane, "I would like to keep your shirt after the game." And Mane said, "Okay, we will make a deal, but on the one condition, you have to be safe. You have to behave correctly during the game against me."
Yeah.
but Sudan, they made it very difficult for Senegal to qualify for the next round.
Yeah.
And this Sedi Barglan, he had a good chance to make a 2-0 advantage for Sudan. And then in Holland on television there were two pundits to analyze the game, and they never heard about the player of Sudan called Shedi Barglan. And they said, well, every team in Holland should now know Shedi Barglan, and they should have their interest in this game because he is playing like Denzel Dumfries.
Yeah.
But I spoke him last week, the Barglan. He said, no club has come to me to arrange me, and my contract with FC Den Bosch is running on for 1 year, so I have to stay here. But, for example, that makes noise in Holland about the African football, and also because there are Belgian coaches who are very known in Holland, with South Africa and with Mali, and Senegal made a good impression. Morocco, a lot of some Dutch players like Amrabat playing there, and Targolin from Feyenoord Rotterdam is playing there. And in the Egyptian team there is playing the guy from Feyenoord Rotterdam, Haj Moussa.
Yeah.
So we enjoy the African game.
Yes. All right, that is the high point for you. So, looking at the Africa Cup of Nations, at one point in time, where will you look at it and say, "Oh man, it did not go well here"? I know you must talk about the final.
Well, yes. Well, the final was really. It was one. I was wondering what's happening here.
Yeah.
What's happening? And I think the coach of Senegal, he was not behaved very well himself. but the way the penalty has been missed, how is it possible to miss a penalty in this way? I cannot understand you make a Panenka on that moment, really. But so it's, in my opinion, it's correct that Senegal won the final only because of this missed penalty.
Yeah, let me also because you are a veteran sport journalist. I remember then probably I might be very too young, but I remember through the videos 1994 World Cup.
Yes.
Where Roberto Baggio missed a penalty for Italy.
Yeah.
Did you watch that game, or do you remember that action? It was like
I have to say, I've been in the United States. I followed the World Cup '94.
Yeah.
But I was concentrated on the Dutch team playing there, and they were going into the quarterfinals, playing against Brazil.
Yeah.
And they were eliminated by Brazil in that game. Very, very unhappy. But so, if you have a focus on your own national team,
yeah,
there is less interest in a
with
game
other nations,
in which Weah is playing. You understand?
Yeah.
That, so I cannot remember that exactly anymore.
Anymore.
I followed the whole tournament until
the
the final, but
yeah, the reason I bring that one because if you were questioning how on earth Brem Diaz missed that penalty for Morocco.
Okay.
You could not believe it's like score a goal, and then win the trophy, and then the whole country go jubilation, miss it, disaster, and he missed it.
Nice to hear. Yeah.
So well, fair enough. It was a good tournament, to be precise. Even though the ending was not the best that we all expect as sport journalists.
Because in Holland the impression of the AFCON was very good. There was a prejudice before that African football is not always organized, is wild and uncontrolled. But that's an impression who is a prejudice before.
Yeah.
But it never showed out in that way. The most teams played a very, very accomplished football, and I guess in the next World Cup in United States, in the quarterfinals there will be about 3 or 4 African teams.
Wow,
I guess.
that would be great. 3 or 4, you mean?
I will not be surprised. No.
Yeah, I think the highest an African team went to the World Cup is a semi-final stage. That was Ghana against Uruguay. 2010 South Africa. Asamoah Gyan, good boy turned to be a bad boy that night. By then I was also again too young in sport reporting in the Gambia. By then I was also working with another FM station doing World Cup coverage. But we come back to the Africa Cup of Nations. Now that the tournament has been moved to every 4 years, how do you think that will affect the nurturing of young talents in our continent? Will that affect the future of African football?
Well, you must know a lot of European clubs are complaining every time when the AFCON is played because they lose then their best
players,
very good players who have to play with their country in AFCON. So European top clubs are happy when there is less AFCON in 4 years, and they will probably willing to sign more African top talents because they have not the risk. They are losing them every 2 years. So I think it could be profitable for the African players who are heading for a European career.
Yeah, but like for me, for my own part, this is my own perspective. I was not happy with that decision because for me, what I think Gambia is a small country. I take Gambia as an example. Gambia, financially, every 2 years is really difficult. It's really tough for Gambia, I know.
Yeah.
But like, if you look at in terms of infrastructure, football development, 4 years is a huge gap. Any country that don't have a proper structure will definitely struggle to qualify to the next African Cup of Nation or even to the World Cup. But 2 years is short.
Yeah.
1 year you miss, you can put yourself together and you prepare. Next year you can qualify.
Yeah.
But if you don't have a proper structure within 4 years, if you miss it, your sport will die for another 8 years.
Yes.
So the distance is too much.
Yeah, but for example, in Holland, in Europe,
Yeah.
you have the European Championship.
Yeah.
The European Championship, which has been played every 4 years.
Yeah.
But in between, you have the European Nations League, in which small countries are playing the top countries.
Yeah.
So there's, I think, I don't know if there is a African Nations League like the model is in Europe.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's a good chance for Gambia to meet stronger opponents and to measure their level to teams like Senegal or Ivory Coast. So that's maybe a good possibility.
All right. Be reminded you are listening to the daily podcast. That's King FM Multisport with me, Alaji Fati. And this evening, my studio guest is Henk Mest, journalist, columnist, TV, who's also that's DW, dwight.duetfield.com. So he's a veteran broadcaster in the media, and as we said, let's now move on to the other chapter because of this program is purely 1 hour, and we've gone for some quarter of the program. Today, few games took part at the Gambian Park. You have a Brikama Box Bar, Serekunda East, and of course at the capital city and other places too. But you were able to watch a game at the Serekunda East Mini Stadium between Falcons and Real de Banjul. Tell us your impression about the game. How do you see that game first?
Well, I had no expectations before.
Oh, really?
No.
Why?
But but it was a grass field where they played, but it was a very bad pitch.
Yeah, the pitch.
The pitch is very bad.
Okay.
It was dry, and you couldn't dribble with the ball in a proper way.
Yeah.
And so that made it very difficult to come to a good game. You understand? And so I don't say it's only the level of the players who make it a difficult game. Also, what surprised me is a lot of interruptions in the game. I think, I didn't count them, but I think maybe more than 25 interruptions have been made. Well,
that's a lot.
Every 2-3 minutes a player was laying down. And mostly I think it was a fake injury. And there was no ending, and it went on. And on the referee, I couldn't blame the referee because he has to follow the rules, and he has to whistle if there is a player laying down and doing like he has a heavy injury. So that because of so many interruptions, there's never any rhythm in the game. There is no fluid combination to see, also because of the bad pitch. And I saw a few players who I think, if they play on a higher level with better teams, on a better pitch, you could see they have a talent, like the striker of Falcons, maybe, outside right of Real de Banjul. He looks me very quick and adequate. But that was the game, and it ended in 0-0 because in the end a goal of Falcons FC has been disallowed. I don't know if it was correct, but the referee, he he noticed the ball was behind the back line, so it was no goal. And then came the end, and there was a big fight between all the players.
Ooh.
and the referee and his linesman and force assistant, they were not belaked, or they were standing alone. They were following the fighting from distance, and then came the police, about 6, 8 policemen hiding, protecting them.
Yeah.
And they went under protection of the field, and in that time the fight still hadn't ended.
Wow. Yeah, but that was after the 90 minutes.
Yeah.
After the game, then that was a.
Yeah, it was after the game.
After the
Yeah.
game. All right, then as you
And
said.
it was strange because during the game there was no quarrel at all. There was no
Tense.
rivalry at all.
When
So
which time was the goal disallowed?
about in 90 plus 4 minutes.
Yeah, that is why.
Yeah, yeah.
You must assume that is the point. Yes, that is why. It's just like Senegal against Morocco. Well, 4 games took part. Samga FC take on Greater tomorrow. And then of course, Falcons, that one that we are talking about, which did not end well, which we don't want to see, physical fight. Falcons against Real de Banjul. And we were told by the veteran sport journalist that Falcons did score a goal in the additional time, but it was disallowed, perhaps a factor of the chaos at the end of the game. And that is a GDL also. FC, they take on Gambia Ports Authority, the Faraba, and then you have the Bombada take on TMT FC at the Box Bar. So, most of those details will be coming to our tomorrow's morning early sports program as well. But Mr. Henk, let's talk about, because you say the game actually played, and then at the end there was a problem. But when you were watching the game, talents-wise, like, were you able to say, well, let's say, goalkeeper number 9 or few players talented to represent the Gambia somehow? Were you happy with the talents that you showed today at Secrect East?
Well, like I said, it's very bad to judge about this game.
Yeah.
And
The pitch, yeah, you bring the condition. The pitch is not good.
The pitch, and because
Yeah.
of all the interruptions.
Yeah,
And,
interruption. Okay.
So I saw a lot. No, a lot. I saw some players who made a little bit surprise, and I think, well, they have the possibilities to play on a higher level, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I said, the striker of Falcons, and also a number 6 midfield player of Falcons, and the goalkeepers. They were not. It was not necessary to make much saves.
Yeah. Okay, it wasn't a very easy game for both sides, as you can say, but that is the beauty of football. Sometimes
sorry, but I must also say, I'm a European. I look with my European spectacles to this game, but what really upset me a little bit, but I'm talking as a European, I guess, that I have been distracted during the whole game because of the music of the burakat, you call it?
Yeah.
There were really such a noise in the stadium, and it distracted me really from the football game to hear all those music going on. But talking like a European, you understand?
Yeah. All right, so let's try to round up with the results of the games that were played today at the various mini stadium. The Gambia Football Federation First Division 1, which was sponsored by Vista Bank, Balawo official partners, week 12. This was the halftime scores. Let's check the the final scores as well, the full-time scores. So this is the games. With in week 12, Samga were defeated against by Greater Tomorrow. Greater Tomorrow beat Samga by 3-2. I could have tell you to go and watch that game. That could have been a very interesting game. 5 games were scored.
Yes.
And then, you know...
I was at the wrong game.
No, you were not at the wrong game because of Real de Banjul title challengers, and then Falcons also the same thing. So
I know.
It was a good game, but, you know, it happens that way. So at the Yundum Mini Stadium, Greater Tomorrow beat Samga by 3-2. Bombada also Brikama also they beat TMTFC by 2-0. Falcons Real de Banjul at Serekunda East Mini Stadium, no goals, 0-0. And of course Lions FC and Gambia Ports Authority game also ended 0-0. So it's a very interesting week. Week 12, 2 games ended goalless, and then the other 2 games heavy score. Very interesting. So that is week 12 of the Gambia Football Federation Division 1. Yes. That is the results of the week 12. So in total of week 12, we have seen 7 goals were scored, and then 2 games ended goalless, no goal. So statistically, it's not a bad result. So let's try to see, and then glance to know the standings of the. This one is the 2nd division. We are more interested in the 4th division standing because of that is where we want to see this Division 2. We are still struggling to get the mains division. So right now, as we can see in the division, it is really interesting. So there's a Division 2. There's a Division 2. Serekunda is also leading that one. 2nd division, Serekunda United are leading the pack with 12 points, and followed by Kolis Stars with 11 points. You have Sibanor United also, 3rd place with 10 points, and Baloa SARS FC 4th with 10 points. 5th place, Walidan with 10 points. So 2nd division is really interesting, and the relegation zone at the 2nd division is Gunjur United at the bottom of the table. After playing 5 games, they secure only 2 points. And then you have Thalinding also 3 points after 5 games. You have Ouagadougou also 4 points after 5 outings. So that is the standings for Division 2. For you. Today, the central focus is more on National League divisions to see how our domestic league also is going. So let's look at the main division. As we see, things are still very tight with the Gambia Football Federation Division 1 table, and then we will see how teams are in order. So the 1st division league is like this. After 10 matches, Gambia Ports Authority are leading with 19 points. Bombada 17 points. Hawks are 3rd with 17 points. Fortune also there with 16 points. At the bottom of the table is Steve Pico. After 10 outings, they have 7 points. Samga, after 10 outings, they got 8 points. Greater Tomorrow, after 10 outings, they get 10 points. So definitely Real de Banjul are 9 position. And then Real, they play against Falcons. Let's look at see Falcons are 11 position. So you see Real and Falcons, Real are at 9 position. Falcons are at 12 position in the league standing. So as we speak, GPA, Gambia Ports already are top of Gambia Division League with 19 points after 10 games, followed by Bombada. So maybe the next games that you should watch is Bombarda, GPA, Hawks, and Fortune. Probably the top 4 teams you should watch. What?
Could be interesting. Yes.
All right. So that's it. We have come to. So let's come back to your league in Holland. In Holland, the region that you came in, and then because I remember in Holland around 1998, 1994, your national team. I'm not saying right now it's not good, but the team that represent Holland in France '98, you have Patrick Kluivert, Eka Davis, you name them, the Holland.
You mean the team of 1998?
Yeah.
Edgar Davids, Davids, yes.
Yes.
It was a very good team.
Good team.
And in that year, they had deserved to get through to the final because they were ignored a penalty against Brazil in the semi-final, and so it was only the third place they had to play. But you forget the team which is now representing Holland in the World Cup. I think they can bring a team which has the quality of the 1988 team.
Really?
Well, if you see which kind of players are representing Holland now, you have in the goal you have a Premier League keeper from Brighton or the Premier League keeper from Sunderland, one of the two. You have in defense Virgil van Dijk. We have Denzel Dumfries from Inter Milan. We have Nathan Ake from Manchester City. In midfield, Frankie de Jong from Barcelona. Tidjani Reinders from Manchester City. There are more. Up front have we Memphis Depay.
Former Manchester United player.
Playing in Brazil now. There are so many players. They have to fight for their places, and the players from Inter Milan, from Manchester City, from
Liverpool,
from
Barcelona.
Liverpool. So they should
do better.
They should present quality in the game. The only problem is probably the
combination.
The offense power, because we have Memphis Depay as the only striker, and Xavi Simons is now playing with Tottenham Hotspur.
Yeah, how about the son of Patrick Kluivert? He's also doing well.
Of who?
Patrick Kluivert, the former striker, his son.
Patrick Kluivert?
Yeah, Patrick Kluivert, the former Holland striker. His son is playing in Championship in England. He's a very good striker.
Kluivert.
Yes,
Kluivert.
Yes,
But he's injured in the moment in England. So he came in the national team in September ago, and he made a very good impression. And he could have been a first team choice, if he not had been plagued by his knee injury. But maybe in time he's coming back, and then he will get his chance, I guess.
Yeah. Well, be reminded you are listening to King FM 94.7. So what we'll do, we will join our Planet Sport team, Steve Vekas, and the rest to talk about the recent concluded Africa Cup of Nations of football as well.
There were indeed increased number of European football fans that I could see at games, especially with Morocco being such a popular Christmas destination for many from Europe. It also should be said that the North African support was very, very good. I would say that the 2022 AFCON in Cameroon was the first I'd seen with fans really turning out for matches not involving the host nation in good number, and that has been continued ever since. And I just wonder how the likes of Kenya, Tanzania and Uganda are going to get on in 2027 in following that, because to maintain that income of 55 million dollars from ticket sales is going to be, I would have thought, phenomenally hard. So best of luck to them. Just finally, we know that Motsepe was partly or possibly largely earmarked for the CAF presidency for his financial acumen. He is, of course, a billionaire. And you have to give him and his team enormous credit for continuing to steer an organisation that was seen as toxic when he took charge into one that is continually attracting ever more sponsors. It is a significant turnaround, and long may it last.
Indeed. Yes, so positive developments there. Well, thanks, Piers. Stay with us. It's Planet Sport Football Africa. Morocco Roars, brought to you in partnership with Diaspora Insurance. Well, let's go to Casablanca now, and I spoke to Planet Sport Football Africa's Jalal Bonwa, a Moroccan sports journalist. I asked him about the feeling from the fans towards Brahim Diaz, who in that incredible moment took a Panenka penalty that in the end cost Morocco a first AFCON in 50 years.
A competition that we wanted to win because 50 years we haven't won the Africa Cup of Nations, and you try to shot the ball in that way. I think it's not accepted here in Morocco. But generally speaking, Brahim Diaz, for me, was the man of the tournament. The first Moroccan in the history of Moroccan football to score 5 goals in the Africa Cup of Nations competition. He is the one who led us to the final, mainly after the absence of Ashraf Hakimi, our captain, because he was injured. And also when Ashraf Hakimi came back during the quarter-final and the semi-final and the final, he was not in his form, but Brahim Diaz was there. So Moroccan fans should stop criticizing him, because he is the player who accepted to come to play for Morocco, and we saw him, the grinta, the way he's playing for Morocco. But it's happened sometimes. You may lose concentration.
So Diaz posted on social media saying that he wants to repay the country, to repay the fans. Can he do that?
Yes, Brahim Diaz and the whole team, we have to believe in the future. Losing the AFCON at home is painful, but it's not the end of the world. This defeat should be a moment of reflection rather than despair. And for Brahim Diaz and the players and the technical staff and the Moroccan authorities and the Moroccan fans, the next step is to learn from the lessons from this tournament. A better squad management and clearer in-games decisions and a braver use of our strength, especially when playing at home. So looking forward, the focus must be now proper preparation for the World Cup and upcoming Africa Cup of Nations 2027.
Okay, so the target for Coach One.
All right, you heard it right. There's a Planet Sport Football Africa with Steve Vickers and the team. What's up next for Morocco? Do you think Morocco, they have a chance in the World Cup?
Morocco?
Yeah.
Like I said, I will not be surprised if 3 or 4 African teams are reaching the quarterfinals. Maybe it's too high estimated, but as it cannot be a surprise if they come so far. But Morocco is probably one of the big teams of Africa with the best chance. They have shown the possibilities in their country, like in the Olympic Games with the football team, in the last World Cup in 4 years ago. Also, the talent of Morocco has been emerged. If you see, the Morocco team is the world champion under 21, I guess, this year. So it's a combination of education of football talent in Morocco, in combination with the quality and the experience they deserve in European top clubs.
Yeah. Well, again, you've been a veteran sport journalist, and then when you say you are expecting 3 to 4 African teams.
No, I didn't say expecting. I said I will not be surprised if there are 3 or 4. That's
let's bring the word surprised.
Okay.
Why the word surprised? Why you say surprised?
Because the African teams showed quality in the AFCON. And they are difficult.
Yeah, definitely for me.
They are difficult to play against for European teams. The the last World Cups has proven that European teams are struggling against African teams. So why not?
So how about Africa and Cameroon? Nigeria did not qualify. Nigeria are out. They are good. They have a good team,
Yeah.
but they are not qualified to the World Cup. But still, we have Africa and Cameroon there.
But if Nigeria not has qualified for the World Cup,
They did not qualify.
no, but it shows that other African countries have the quality to eliminate Nigeria
Of
here
course.
on the continent.
Of course.
Oh, so
All right. Then before we go, because you are someone who have a little bit idea about Gambian football, because you talk of Jato Cisse. That was when I was going to school when he was playing football. And then, how would you compare Gambian football now and those days of Jato Cisse? How do you see our football now compared to the golden era of Jato Cisse and his core?
I think Yato Cisse would be a first-class player in Dutch top league now again, because he was quick. He had he was versatile. He had his dribbling qualities. He was always a danger for the opponent.
Yeah.
And so, and you don't have to overestimate, to overrate the Dutch league. So it's a stepping stone to the big leagues, and you see Yakuba Minte has made a step,
Yeah.
and Yatou Cisse, they didn't make the step to the Premier League, I guess, but I'm not sure.
No,
about
no,
that.
he never. Yes.
No, but you have to mention that in those years, it was not easy to enter in the Premier League.
Very
because,
difficult then.
less players were allowed to play from other countries were allowed to play in the Premier League. Now, all teams in the Premier League.
No. The fact of the matter was, in those days, England were having too much of quality players.
Yeah,
You remember David Beckham, Steven Gerrard, Lampard, Nicky Butt, you name them. There were plenty of players at all corners. Sometimes when I still in my house, I'm having some football pictures. When I go there, look at the pictures, I see England, their World Cup squad. I say, this team did not win anything. No, I cannot believe that.
Yeah, but England always has quality players,
Yeah.
but they are not respected in every way in England, I guess. If you see Phil Foden is a quality player, but how often he is in this season on the bench with Manchester City?
Yeah, even last game he came from the bench.
Yeah, so why? Rashford was a quality player, and he left England because he didn't feel well in the Premier League.
Yeah.
And so there are many players of England who cannot show their real
Talent, yeah.
real talent in the Premier League because every team is full of foreigners.
Yeah, England team, the Premiership is very competitive.
Yeah,
I think our African teams make it more harder
Yeah.
for weak European players.
But there are a lot of African players in the Premier League, I guess.
Yes,
Yeah.
plenty.
Plenty, 30 or 40.
If
or
you look at
maybe,
Manchester United right now,
yeah.
there are two key players are all from Africa. Bruno and Amadou Diallo.
Yeah.
Ahmed Diallo, they are all from Africa, Ivory Coast and Cameroon. So, and then these two players, if they miss any game for United, it's always a problem.
Yeah.
So, the future for African football is bright, to be honest. And then I'll come back to AIPSR Africa Congress.
Yes.
Because of there was a panel talking about the future of African football. Like the Gambia, for instance, the Gambia did not qualify to the last Africa Cup of Nations. Does not mean the Gambia did not have quality players. We have the quality players, but what happened? We did not have the required infrastructure to be playing our games week in, week out in the country. Because you cannot qualify it when we are playing all your qualified games outside of your country. That was the problem for the Gambia.
Yeah.
So infrastructure is a problem.
It is ridiculous that in Gambia there is a national stadium, Stadium of Independence, where you can't play international games.
Yes, sad.
that shouldn't be possible. And like they said in the Congress, in the panel, they said the Gambian football needs more structure, more organization, more investment from enterprises to come to a higher level.
Yeah.
And you see in other countries, without the sponsoring, the level is not rising enough to match with other countries.
Yeah.
So
it's a problem. So the Gambia as a country, we all need to do more because of since the independence. In fact, well before Gambia have an independence, there is only one stadium in the country. That is the National Independence Stadium. So the rest are mini parks. Today, where you win, it cannot host international game.
No, I heard
for community
because
football.
I've informed. I heard now the pitch is now okay in the Independence Stadium. The grassroots they are okay, but the accommodation and all around the stadium shouldn't be qualified for international games in the moment.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of work to do there, and that could push the players and the national team to higher level, to more wins, and to get Gambia on the level of countries with Sudan. Why can Sudan play in the AFCON without any players, without any league in their own country?
Without any Yankuba Minte. So it's football. Sometimes you never know, and then that is the beauty of the game. So finally, let's talk about the big clubs in Europe hiring and firing coaches.
Yes, that's usual in Holland.
Because of the results are not coming, too much of expenditure, and then clubs need to have money.
There's no patience with the clubs if they have lost 3 games in a row.
You'll go.
But it all follows from the big interest of money in all those clubs, and the investors, they want to see results and they get nervous. And if there are no results, and I think it's a very bad situation for coaches, because they don't feel the confidence of the club if they lose 3 or 4 times. But it's not only in England. It's in Holland. It's in Belgium. It's in Germany and France. And I'm wondering where. Now because now the coach of Tottenham Hotspur has been dismissed, so maybe De Zerbi from Marseille will go to Spurs. It's one circulation of often the same names who are turning around to find a club.
Yeah.
and to get hired, first to get hired and then to get fired.
Yes. Well, Henk, thank you very much. Indeed, it has been a very interesting interaction with you in the studio, and then I hope before you go you have one more again.
Okay, thank you.
I hope so.
Yeah.
Hopefully we'll have one more.
If you have another holiday in Gambia, I will pleased to meet you.
Well, listeners, from me, Alaji Fati, and the rest of the team, and of course, today my studio guest is sports journalist, columnist from Holland, Henk Mest, who has been really, and he did justice to the program in as far as African football and our domestic league too is concerned. So we're going to draw down the curtains for today, and hopefully till